Okay, so welcome to SCORE, and our mission is to foster vibrant small business communities through mentoring and education. It's our goal to give every person the support they need to thrive as a small business. We have the largest network of small business mentors in the nation. No matter what your business stage is, whether you're starting, whether you're growing, whether you're exiting from your business, we have an experienced mentor for you. And as a matter of fact, our small business clients who do receive 3 or more hours of mentoring report higher revenues and increased growth. And that's data that was provided by SBA. Uh, we have over 10,000 volunteers across the country. We serve over 1,500 communities, and we have a very strict code of ethics, which means that anything that you tell us is totally confidential. We are in no way allowed to use you or our list of clients to make money. And uh, we do not distribute your list to anyone for commercial use. It's super easy to get a mentor. All you have to do is go to score.org, as you can see at the bottom of left of the screen, and enter your zip code, click on Request a Mentor. You'll get a very small form to fill out and basically ask what you need mentoring with. And you click OK, and someone will contact you within um, within 2 business days. One of the things that we like to tell you is that we are, again, I'll repeat, totally free, and we are able to be free because we're supported by the Small Business Administration. All you have to do, if you're online, you can take a picture of that QR code, and it'll take you right to score.org to request a mentor. So at this time, I am going to stop sharing, and I'm going to turn it over to Diane, and Diane will introduce herself, and she will move forward with the program. So let me see. Different.
Hi, everybody. Well, she's unsharing her screen. I am Diane Helbig. I am a business advisor and trainer. I am in the Cleveland area, but I work around the world helping small business owners overcome challenges in their businesses and training people in all sizes of businesses and all industries on what we like to call critical skills. So there is, for some reason, I cannot respond in the chat, so I'm going to just say it out loud. This is indeed being recorded, and what I don't know is what SCORE will do with the recording when we are all done. Having said that, they'll make sure that you have access to it. Let's just say it that way. Today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. And I debated whether to do a PowerPoint and just go through slides or use LinkedIn as my guide. So I tend to want this to be interactive because I want to know what you want to know. Now, I mean, there are some things I want to make sure that you know. Usually people have a lot of questions about LinkedIn, and so I want to know what those questions are. So right now, what I would love for you to do is if you could put in the chat a question that you have about LinkedIn. It can be a question, it can be a challenge, something you're doing that's really successful, whatever it is. If you would please put it in the chat, and that'll give me an idea of some of the areas that we want to make sure that we're covering. Tanya, that's a really good question. Okay, good. Those are good questions. when it comes to how critical is it to have Sales Navigator to get leads, uh, for me, it depends on how much prospecting you're going to be doing. Like, who is your target audience? How much prospecting are you going to be doing? How are you going to use it? I mean, there's a lot of questions around Sales Navigator. I have a tendency to say you probably don't need it. There may be periods of time where you need it. And the great thing about LinkedIn is that you could use one of their premier levels for like a month, and then you could let it go. So it's not something that you have to commit to for a really long period of time. So now I'm going to go, backward. Thank you guys. You're doing great. Sales Navigator, for those of you who don't know, is an elevated level of LinkedIn that you pay for that provides you with added abilities. So you can learn a lot more about a prospect. You can get contact information more easily. You can do prospecting research to a greater degree. So it's just, you may notice that you may try and do something on LinkedIn and it says, you need to have Premier or Premium, whatever it is. So LinkedIn has a couple of different programs that are an additional cost. You just have to make sure that you really know what you're going to be doing with it. I mean, so I tend to think that if you're a salesperson in a company where you have high volume prospecting, you are going to want Sales Navigator because it's going to give you the information that you need in order to be able to be doing a lot of prospecting. I don't know. It is my belief that small business owners don't necessarily need it. And as I said a minute ago, you might need it for a period of time so you can gather a whole bunch of information and then you can let it go because you can opt on to any of the premium levels for like a month and then get off. They don't force you into an annual program. Another question, should I be promoting myself on LinkedIn or my business? Both. And we'll talk about that. Yes, it's being recorded. Posting frequency versus quality content. This is a great question. These are all great questions so far. You want to focus more on providing quality content than worrying about how often you're posting. People do not sit on LinkedIn like they sit on TikTok or Instagram or even Facebook. They don't sit there and scroll. What they do is they visit. They go and visit. So you don't need to be posting all the time. People aren't going to see it. The cool thing is that you can take a post and you can schedule it to go a couple of times over like a 3-month period, different days of the week, different times of day, because different people are going to see it. It's not like the same people are going to be on there at those times because LinkedIn, it's just, it's a business network. It's not a social network. Well, okay, so now I have this question. What are the best types of posts to make for digital marketing? Video. Video posts with some text so that the search engines can pick up the text. We are in a world now where, for right now, video is really king. And LinkedIn is making some changes to make that even better. So bigger on the screen. You can have a video. So there's places where you can post articles on LinkedIn. And in the past, you would just have an image header. Now you can have a video header. And videos don't have to be long. They're nice and short, like at most 2 minutes. Figure out what you want to say it, put it in a little bit. It doesn't have to be high level marketing. I just did one right before this. I turned on my Zoom and hit record, and I just recorded a quick, it's probably 2 minutes, I haven't looked at it, video, and I'll end up throwing it up there probably later today or tomorrow. So we're going to talk some more in general about posting, so I'm going to leave that there for right now. Okay. The least expensive way to leverage LinkedIn for generating leads is to use the free version and learn how to do prospecting research. Okay. So another question I have here is how to target the right people using LinkedIn. That's prospecting research, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, and I'm going to try and share my screen and go into that. Is it better to create a following for your company or engage? Yeah. Okay. It is better to engage as an individual. You can have a company page. I wouldn't invest a lot of time and energy on it. People buy from people. Sales is about relationships. So it is more important for you to show up as you and have your profile filled out in a way that really provides people with information about who you are, why you do what you do more than what you do. Why you do it is more important. The results that you get is more important than, the what you do. And you want to be making those connections with people. So that's where 99% of the people spend their time. What are the 3 most important things to focus on when leveraging LinkedIn for a new virtual assistance business? So it's going to be, and this is true for any business, your profile, your connections, your content. Okay? No matter what. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to hopefully go on to LinkedIn and show you what I'm talking about, because there are certain things about those 3 areas. You do not need a separate business page. Um, so I think if you focus on using your personal profile, and when I say personal, I just mean you as opposed to your company, and engaging with people and posting and having it set up in the right way and connecting with people, that's like the best way to leverage LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like a database. So the reason that Microsoft bought LinkedIn a couple years ago is because they wanted the CRM that is LinkedIn. Microsoft had Microsoft Dynamics. It was a terrible program. So they bought LinkedIn because, oh my gosh, you have almost all the information you could possibly need or want about companies and the people. And so that's really, for me, the gold of LinkedIn. It's the people. It's getting to know them. It's connecting and building relationships with people. LinkedIn gives you the best possible platform to do that. And we will talk about that. We will talk about how you expand your network. So I have this question: how do clients fill forms out and pay via PayPal? You want to direct them to that form through a link. And on that form, there should be a PayPal link. I don't think you don't necessarily want that living on LinkedIn. Okay. Ada, we'll get to that. What's the best way to use we'll get to it. Let's see. Oh, if I have two businesses, how do I describe myself? Should I promote myself as a business owner and say more about? Yeah, so this is a good question. I'm going to say, please do not have more than one profile on LinkedIn. And if you do, there is a way to combine them. So you only have one, because if you have more than one, you are confusing people and you are diluting your efforts. So if you have more than one business, you're going to have that listed under your experience. And as you are providing content, you will decide which one you're focusing on at the time. If they're complementary businesses, that's a lot easier. But as long as you have them in your experience and then your content is focused on one or the other, you'll be fine. What are your top 3 or 4 best practices on? We'll get to that, Pam. Um, Out of that cold messages of services, we will get to that too. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to scroll through these. Um, okay, yes. Okay, so I am going to see if uh, okay, so that's interesting. Oh, good. Okay, here we go. So let's just talk about, you should be able to see LinkedIn on your screen. Okay. So I'm going to talk about there really, as I said before, there are 3 basic areas that you want to be paying attention to. The first is your profile, the second is your connections, and the third is your content. Okay. When it comes to your profile, there are a couple of things that you want to keep in mind. The first one is your picture should be a professional image. It should not be you with your dog, unless you have some sort of animal business. It shouldn't be you standing against a tree. This isn't a dating site. I know they're sort of trying to turn it into one, but you don't have to be in a suit. I mean, you can see in my picture, I'm not in a suit. It's professional for your industry. So whatever you're into, it could be a shirt, a logoed shirt, but would be fine. I just want to check the chat real quick. Okay. Oops, let me do this. Now, this under my name, where it says business advisor, blah, 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 that's your headline. That's also critically important that you customize your headline for a couple of reasons. The first one is it is keyword rich. So when Google is out there looking for things, you want those words popping up in your headline. You also want people to be able to come to your profile and know instantly what you're about. And you are not about founder, owner, president, VP of marketing. They don't care about that part. Okay. They don't care about the number of years you've been in business or all the little initials you have after your name. They want to know, what's the value? What are you bringing? Okay. So you want to be able to put that information in your headline. When you set up your profile originally on LinkedIn, it pulls the headline from your current position. So when you look at your experience, if you've got, ABC company, and when it says, what is your title, you say, VP of sales, that's what's going to show up in your headline. It's going to say VP of sales at ABC company. And what I'm saying is change it. So when you are looking at your profile, there's going to be these little pencils everywhere. And you can click on the pencil and it will bring up this information. And here under headline, you can change whatever is there. Okay. So see, my current position is business advisor at Helbig Enterprises. If I hadn't changed my headline, that's what it would say in there. Okay. The first two words are the most important. So decide what you want those first two words to be. And then you notice I don't have commas. I have spaces. And then the bar, which is shift, it's the key right above enter, your enter key. Okay. Because it shows separation and it gives you an opportunity to have a lot in there. You can put your pronouns in there. You can, if you have more than, well, you have to pick which company you want to show up under current position. But you can add others. The industry that you're in, any education that you have taken. And here's something, I'm actually going to get out of here because I'm going to go through the profile. This may sound a little weird, and I'm okay with that, but I think you should make sure that your high school education is in there, is in under education, and I will tell you why. One of the things that LinkedIn, all these sites have these little bots in the background that go around and try and connect people to each other. And one of the things that LinkedIn does is it takes all the information in your profile. It takes the things that you talk about. It takes the groups that you're in, takes all of that, and it tries to connect you to other people on the platform who have similar education, topics of interest, groups that they're in, because LinkedIn knows it's about the connections. It's about people connecting with each other. So if you put that education in there, the other thing about this is that unless you were really a jerk in high school, there's instant trust between you and the people you went to high school with. So if you have your high school in there and LinkedIn says people you may know and you see people you went to high school with, connect with them on LinkedIn, because then you're seeing each other's content, you're sharing each other's stuff, you're, doing all of these things. And then if you need something like in another city, you have people there. And I'm going to give you a real quick example. I'm in Cleveland. I went to high school in Michigan. I have a friend here whose son lives in Chicago, and her son lost his job. And so she had actually put on Facebook that her son had lost, the whole department had been wiped out, and he really wanted to stay in Chicago, and here's what he did, blah, blah, blah. And I said to her, have him connect with me on LinkedIn, have him send me his resume. I went on LinkedIn and I searched my network for people in Chicago because I knew my brother was there, but I didn't know who else I knew was actually in Chicago. And there were people I went to high school with, I found out, in Chicago. And I reached out to them on LinkedIn and said, hey, this is the story, this is what's going on. If you hear of anything, would you mind, every single one of them said, have him connect with me on LinkedIn and have him send me his resume. So sounds like it's totally disconnected, but it is completely connected. And this is part of the reason why we want to make sure we are filling out our profile as much as we possibly can. Okay? So in your about, you want to talk about what you do and why you do it and who you do it for and what the results are. You don't want it to read like a resume because people will think you're looking for a job. And if you're not, then you want to be more descriptive. You can add the services that you provide. Now there's a featured section where you can add things that you want to show up highlighted on your profile. It'll show your posts, your experience. So you can see here, I mean, I have a couple that say to present, and then I have some that have stopped, but I'm putting them all there. I've got a variety, I feel like I need to add one to that, of education, okay? Licenses and certifications, put them there. Specialties, any projects that you're working on or you had worked on, any volunteer work that you currently do, whether it's personal volunteer work or professional, if you're sitting on a board or you're on a committee of a chamber, whatever it is, you can add your skills. See the pencil there on every single one of these sections. Recommendations that you've gotten or given will be there. If you've published any articles, books, whatever, you've been on a podcast, you can put them there. If you have courses that you offer, if you've gotten awards, you can put them in this section. Organizations that you're affiliated with, and anyone you're following on LinkedIn. So there's a lot of information that you can add to your profile, and all of that information provides LinkedIn with a lot of content that they can then use to connect you to people. It also is a lot of content that the search engines are looking at, so you show up later when people are doing a search. It's like I have another question. Okay, I'll have to answer that one later. Okay, so see what I'm saying about your profile? The more information you put on there, the more opportunity you're going to give LinkedIn to help you. Okay, now let's go to people. So you have people who want to connect with you, and then you have the people who you already have as connections. All right, so over here, I've got these. You can sort your connections by, there are filters. So you can sort them by recently added, first name, last name. But you can also search with filters. So you can search your connections, your first connections. You could search your second connections, where they are. So remember when I said I did the Chicago thing? So that was the location that I put in here, and then did click show results so I could see who I knew there. There may be a company that you are interested in possibly doing work with, and you want to see if you're connected to anyone in the company. So you can add a company name and see if anything shows up. Okay. So you have all of these people you're connected to, and they are like treasures. So you want to be careful with them, and you want to be really protective, I will say, of them. Okay. And this is what I mean by that. You want to be sure that anyone you're connected to on LinkedIn, you are treating respectfully, professionally, and you are continuing to relationship build with them. You are also not necessarily connecting them to other people unless you really trust the other people. Because, you don't want to get a bad rap with your connections that you'll just refer anyone to them or from them or whatever. Okay. We have to have a policy for this. We don't have these connections. This is going to sound really strange. We don't have connections on LinkedIn so we can sell. And what I mean by that is you are not going to try and sell to anyone directly on LinkedIn, please. What you are going to do is relationship build and get introductions. So when we talk about leads, what we're really talking about is discovering who's out there and learning about them, seeing if we're connected to them in any way, following what they're posting, commenting on what they're posting. And when we reach out to connect to them, if we don't have someone who could introduce us, we're going to do it with a focus on continuing to get to know them, like to schedule a meeting, not to sell them anything. We don't sell on social media. All right. And I know people may be doing it to you, but you do not want to be doing it to anyone else. It's just not the right, you ruin your reputation when you do it. Okay. So there are technically 3 levels of connections. There's first connections. Those are the people who you are directly connected to. They are in your list of connections. You are directly connected to them one-to-one on LinkedIn. Either you sent them a request or they sent you a request and you said yes, they said yes, and now your first connections. That's who shows up in this list of connections, okay? Then there's second connections. Second connections are people who you are connected to through one of your firsts. So I'll show it to you in a minute because it's easier if I just show it to you. Then there are third connections, and the way it goes is your second, so you are connected to someone through one of your firsts, and that second is connected to someone. Thirds are really hard to try and connect to. So my advice would be don't. All right. If you are in a group on LinkedIn, those people automatically become second connections because LinkedIn says, well, you have something in common. We're going to bump them up, not to the head of the class, but second chair. Okay. So it makes it easier to then connect with them and engage with them because now you're second connections. Okay. So I said that your connections are your treasure, that they're gold. And we continue to relationship build with them by connecting with them offline, by commenting on their posts, by liking and sharing their posts, by potentially introducing them to people. It's all of the relationship building things, scheduling time with them, what on the phone or a Zoom or whatever it is. It's critically important that we are consistently building those relationships and staying top of mind with people. Then when it comes to you're doing your prospecting research, which is really an amazing value add of LinkedIn, they're going to become even more important. So you can go to the search function up here on the left and you can pick you can pick an industry, you can pick a company if you want, you can pick a position. So for example, if my ideal prospect is the VP of or someone in marketing, let's just say someone in a company in marketing, I'm going to put marketing and hit enter. And what happens is I get either jobs or people. I'm going to go to people. Now you can see here, I have first, second, third plus. Okay. I only want my seconds, and I will show you why. I'm going to use, I can use this first one, Michael. He's a sales and marketing leader in Cleveland. I can't tell if he's actually currently working, but I can see here the people who he is connected to as a first, who I am also connected to as a first. Okay. So I'll try and find a different one. How about Jessica George? So she's the director of marketing communications at Avery Dennison. Great. Wonderful. I can see that I am connected to her through Tony Weber, Judy Abelman, and 11 other people. And if I pull them up, I can see who they are. So I can look at these people who are connected to Jessica, first with Jessica, who are also first with me. And I can look at this list and I can say, well, you know what? I feel like the person who I know best, who knows me best, is Heidi. So outside of LinkedIn, like in an email or on a phone call, I'm going to reach out to Heidi and I'm going to say, I see you're connected to Jessica George on LinkedIn. I'd love to meet her. I'd love to connect with her and just learn about what's going on over at Avery Dennison, what their initiatives are. You know, potentially there might be a way I can help, but I really would just really like to have an opportunity to have a conversation with her. Would you be open to introducing us? Now, Heidi knows me and she knows Jessica. She's going to make a she's either going to say, let me talk to Jessica first, or she's going to say, sure, not a problem. I think you two should be connected. And then I'm going to say, could you do an email introduction? So that way I have her contact information. Okay. What I am not going to do is I am not going to go to Jessica's profile and try to connect to her because we're both connected to Heidi. I'm not going to connect, do the connect and put a note in. So we're both connected to Heidi Smith. So I thought we should be connected. Why? That's not a reason. But if I can get Heidi to introduce me to Jessica, and if I can get her to do it in an email introduction, I know when she did it, I have Jessica's contact information. Now I can reach out to Jessica and say, I'm grateful to Heidi. Would you have time to just jump on a quick call? I promise I'm not selling anything. I just really like to learn. Okay. So do you guys see where I'm going with this? We are using it to get introduced to the people we want to meet, who we want to build relationships with, and get to know who may turn out to be potential clients. They might turn out to be good business connections. They might turn out to be resources that we can provide to other people. We never know how someone's going to show up in our world. And so that's how we want to approach all of these connections and conversations. Now, I was going to talk about content, but I want to stay on these people for a minute. What you don't want to do once you connect with someone is hi Karen, try to sell to them in the messages, right? So you connect with someone and then you go straight into, this is what I do. I think this would be valuable for you. If you're interested, let me know, blah, blah, blah. Because A, you have no idea whether they need or want what you have to sell. You are totally in sales mode. People don't want to be sold. you can, people will buy from you when they trust you and when they have a need. And so we are leveraging LinkedIn in a couple of ways. We are using LinkedIn to build our network so that more and more people are getting to know us and see that we are good at what we do and we know what we're doing. We are providing content that is valuable to other people, so they want to keep us around, so they follow us. So we are top of mind, we are in front of them. Maybe they're sharing it with other people, so we're getting in front of other people. And we are further establishing our credibility. And we are building relationships with people through LinkedIn by learning about them, connecting with them, and then having offline conversations, doing a variety of things. Okay. The people who sell on LinkedIn, I was trying to find one where, here, this guy. Okay. So, sorry, Mitchell, if you're here. Asked to connect with me, so I did. Was just checking out your profile and loving the experience. Curious, are you accepting clients at the moment? So I said, so I thought, wow, this guy's going to try and sell me a program for getting me more clients. So I didn't say anything. Then he, got any space for more clients this spring. So then I said, are you looking for an advisor to help you with your business? And he said, I'm not. I think I see a few ways we could help you connect with some ideal coaching clients this spring. Okay. Okay, he asked the question, could I take more clients? I don't think it would have mattered what I would have said to him. He would have come back with some other sort of answer. He doesn't know me at all. I don't know him at all. So, before where I said people will buy from you when they have a need and they trust you. I don't trust this guy. I don't know this guy. So, and he's not building trust here. He's making assumptions. He's thinking that because he offers something that people like me buy, that therefore I should be interested in what he has to sell. And that is a dangerous, dangerous way to approach LinkedIn, because I ended up going through a whole thing with him to try and get my point across that the way they were doing it wasn't great. Usually I just say no, thank you, and I move on. But one of the things I would love it if you guys would take away is you're hurting your reputation. Because even if down the road I needed that thing, that is not someone I'm going to get it from. First of all, I'm going to look in my network to see who I know in my network, who I am connected to, who I have built relationships with, who offers that kind of thing, or who might be able to point me in the direction of someone who offers that thing. Okay? So we don't want to be selling. First of all, we don't want to be assuming that just because someone looks like an ideal prospect, that they are an ideal prospect, because we have no idea whether they are or not. We don't want to be selling. We want to be relationship building. That's how you're going to continue to build your network, to get solid relationships with people that then could potentially lead to introductions to other people, or they may come around and want to hire you. They may want to refer you to someone else. All right. But it's a long game and it's more networking. We don't sell on the internet, right? It's about networking. It's about building relationships and establishing our credibility. So let's talk about that. So, content. Your content on LinkedIn should not be promotional. There's this 80-20 rule of content. 80% should be educational and engaging. 20% can be about your business as long as it's not a sales pitch. So it could be, I'm super excited to be speaking at this event or hosting this workshop, or I've been heads down all week working on a sale. We're having this big event this weekend and trying to put all the pieces in place. Really excited. If you know anyone who likes fill in the blank or is interested in whatever, you can feel free to share the link with them. Okay, I'm not selling anything. Sharing information about my business. I'm giving people an opportunity. But that's like the 20%. All right. If you're in the news or something, you can spotlight employees if you've got them. There's all sorts of ways that you can talk about your company without being salesy. The 80% is content that's relevant and valuable for your audience. Think about questions that people ask you and then write a post that responds to those questions. It can be, did you know? It can be the top 10, whatever. You could write an article. You can link to something you've read or something you've written if you have a blog. So like someone asked, do I promote myself on LinkedIn or my business? You know what? Write a blog post on your website and then say a little something about it on LinkedIn with a link to it. Now, I will tell you, LinkedIn would rather that everyone stay on LinkedIn. That's their goal in life. So they have provided opportunities for people to have their content on LinkedIn. So they will suggest that you create a newsletter on LinkedIn. That can be really valuable. It can be really easy. And then you don't need to do the email newsletter. It could actually be the same. If you have an email newsletter, you could have the same information. You're just hitting a different audience potentially, because there may be crossover. There probably is some crossover, but it's not going to be complete. Okay. You can write an article. So you see here, post a video, post a photo, and you can add a photo to a post, or you can write an article. So you can, they have AI, everyone's got AI. So you could use some AI to help you, but you may want to make sure you either have a cover image or a video to go with your article, and you just put a title, and then you can copy paste. So like write it in Word and then put it over here and just make sure it's styled the way that you want it. And you can put hashtags, you can mention people, and then it's going to live on LinkedIn. So it's in this whole curated body of work. The great thing about it is that LinkedIn will show it to people who have expressed an interest in whatever that topic is. So if there's people on LinkedIn who have been talking about dog grooming and you've written an article about it, LinkedIn is going to show that to them. Okay. Posts get eyes when other people are engaging with them. So I think someone asked the question about, my posts disappear when other people's tend to show up more. That's because of the engagement. We want our content to be engaging. So, maybe you share a link to an article and you ask a question to get people commenting on it. You can post an update, whatever it is, link to something or a story, whatever it is, and you can post it, and then you can be the first person to comment, and you've probably seen this happen. You can mention a handful of people and they will get notification that they've been mentioned. So they will see your post And then hopefully they will comment on it, or they will share it, or they will do both. They will like it, whatever, so that it goes out to their connections as well. The more engaging your posts are, and the more eyes you get on your posts, the more LinkedIn is going to keep it above the fold, so to speak. It's gonna, LinkedIn's gonna present it to more people because everyone else who's engaging with it is telling LinkedIn this is valuable. So you want to make sure that your content is valuable. You don't have to post a lot. You can post once or twice a week. You want to set up, it's not just a schedule, it's decide what topics you want to talk about, decide how you want to present that information. If you want to do video or you want to do text only, if you want to link to something that's outside of LinkedIn, you make these decisions about, and it's not that you have to, stick to them specifically, but it's good to have a strategy before you start doing it because it makes it easier. And part of that strategy includes pick 3 to 5 topics in your industry that you think you could share information about. So for example, one of mine would be sales. Well, then under sales, there are subtopics. So I can add those subtopics down there. If I have my list, then I know here are the things that I want to be sharing information on. So when I go to my calendar and it says, write a post or create content or, engage on LinkedIn, whatever I tell myself I want to do during that period of time, I've got, if I don't have something that I automatically know I want to talk about, I can go to my list and I can say, oh, you know what? I haven't talked about networking in a while. Let me write something about that. You want to make it easy on yourself. You can also create a whole bunch of content ahead of time and then schedule it to go out. Okay. So if I decide to share a post, I can put it all in here and I can click rewrite with AI. And I have the free version of LinkedIn, just so you know. I can click, rewrite with AI and it'll do whatever. And then I can schedule it for later. So I can say when I want it to go and, then I don't have to worry about it. It's scheduled to go. I can use an outside platform to schedule posts on, my various social media, or I can do it directly here. Okay. This is a lot of information that I have just thrown at you, and I know that it is. So what I want to do is stop, see if anyone has any other questions, and I'll stop sharing my screen. But see if anyone has any other questions that I can answer, or yes, posts on LinkedIn show up on search engines. That's a great question. And let me tell you a little hack. If you add 3 hashtags at the bottom of your post, LinkedIn takes it, turns it into a URL with those words in the URL, which just helps with search engines finding your stuff. You post projects in your profile. If you go to your profile to edit it, there's all these sections. Projects are one of the sections, and you can hit the pencil and you can add your projects in there. You can remove a post. You just remove the whole post, actually. You would just delete the post, the flyer on LinkedIn once it's posted. So a professional way to respond to people who send you connection requests that lead to sales is to just say, no, thank you. And you can disconnect from people, so you can unconnect, remove them from your connections, and they don't get any sort of notification that you did that. When they try and send you a message again, they won't be able to, then they'll know, but you can do that one as well. All right, let's see. These are good questions. I mean, LinkedIn's a lot. I'll tell you something else. You post the hashtags in your post at the bottom, at the end of your post, after you've said everything you want to say. So, LinkedIn has a lot of tutorials. So, they have a whole library of like videos where they explain all sorts of things. So don't be afraid to go there and look for a topic, or just put in the search bar, how do I on LinkedIn, and it'll give you tutorials that you can use to walk through some of these things. So, do I have an outline regarding the tips and recommend? I might. I will look and see if I do, and if I do, I'll send it over to SCORE and they can send it out to everybody.
That'd be great. We can do that.
Excellent. Excellent. Other thoughts?
Diane, this has been terrific. Thank you so much.
You're
This is
welcome.
great, and let me reassure all the attendees that you will be receiving a link to this presentation within the next few days. And thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.